Good morning, people. This is Pamela checking in on a video vlog, and I want to let the people know that I am aware of the condo collapse in Florida. It happened one day last week. They're still looking for the dead or the missing that they're looking for. When I last heard about this, they said 5 people have died and well over 100 people are missing. My thoughts go out to all that are still looking for their loved ones. I just came across a news article before getting on here where a woman was talking on the phone with a loved one who said that she was on the phone in her 4th floor apartment balcony where she was telling somebody that she saw the pool cave in just before the part of the building came down. This comes from the Insider off of Yahoo News. A woman standing on her balcony was on the phone to her husband as the Miami condo began to collapse and described the unfolding disaster before the line had died. And it says here, according to her sister, the pool is caving in seconds before the line went dead. The lady's name is Stratton, who is on the balcony on the 4th floor of the Champlain Towers is still missing. A woman stood on the balcony of her 4th floor apartment at the Florida condo collapsed. She told her husband on the phone that she could see the pool caving in seconds before the line went dead. That was reported by Sky News, by the way. Her name is Cassie Stratton, was speaking to her husband. His name is Michael, from the balcony on the south side of the Champlain Towers when she noticed the building starting to shake in the early hours. Ashley Dean had said. Suddenly she said, "Honey, the pool is caving in. The pool is sinking to the ground," Dean said, according to Sky News. He said, "What are you talking about?" Then she says, "The ground's shaking. Everything's shaking." And then she screamed, a blood-curdling scream, and then the line went dead, Dean added. Stratton is among the 159 apartment residents who are still unaccounted for as of Saturday, the BBC had reported. The official death toll currently stands at 4. We've never been able to see her again because she's in there. She's trapped in there. Dean told Sky News. "I have to be realistic. My baby is gone. My baby sister is gone." Dean said that her sister had reportedly had been complaining about the state of the apartment for months. It told me about all kinds of water leaks and people rough with heavy equipment, she said. The condo was the subject of a 2015 maintenance suit. A resident, Mathusil Feinstein, who said that the building's owners failed to repair or negligently repaired the common elements on the outside walls of the building. A court documents seen by Insider. And you could click any highlights in this article. It's issues indicated affected the collapse. And you could go to Insider and read the original article for yourself. But yeah, they said over 150 plus are now confirmed missing. But like somebody said, they have to be realistic. So yeah. Again, over 150 people are confirmed missing. As of that article, 4 people are dead, but I think it went up to 5 as of last night. Who knows what could have happened? I think they said Florida was subject to what they call sinkholes. Bye, bro. I think they said Florida is common to sinkholes. If what they say is true, I think they need to look into the history of the repairs on that building. The building had just turned 40 years old this year, so yeah. Let me see what I can find out on any other news reports. Wow. Okay. Let's go with the more current news here. From 10 minutes ago, CNN. At least 9 dead after partial building collapse near Miami. And they're talking about more families of Surfside collapse victims to visit site this afternoon. And CNN says families of the victims of the Champlain Towers South collapse who were unable to make it to the site yesterday will be bussed over on Monday, according to officials. Maggie Castro, a spokeswoman with Miami-Dade Fire and Rescue, told CNN the families will be bussed from the Family Reunification Center at 2 p.m. Eastern. About 200 visited the site yesterday, Ms. Castro told CNN on Monday. There's a combination of emotions, Castro said. We all process things differently. For some, it was a better understanding of what we are dealing with. For others, it was closure. Castro said the part... God damn it. Stupid ads. Anyway, they're playing video about what happened. They say footage obtained by a local Fox Sports news anchor appears to show the moment the building collapsed in Florida. And it's in the article. I'll share it on the sidebar if there's room. But it says here, Castro was part of a briefing of family members of the missing inside of the Reunification Center Monday morning, which was closed to the media. And the collapse has prompted nearby cities to review their building protocols. Here is what is being done. Crews continue to search for survivors of the rubble after a building collapsed in Surfside, Florida. Although the cause of this collapse remains unknown, information from the inspection report from 2018 showed that a structural engineering firm details significant cracks and breaks in the concrete. A statement from the firm said on Saturday. This is prompting city leaders in the area to review the building recertification protocol to ensure that their buildings are safe. Here is what nearby cities are doing. In Sunny Isles Beach, the city located around 5 miles north of Surfside, will begin sending teams to inspect the buildings on Monday, after announcing Saturday that they would modify the existing process for 40-year recertification of buildings. Vice Mayor Laura Sweenchen told CNN, we are immediately putting in plans to check 59 buildings that are either at the 40-year mark or have just went through the 40-year recertification, because ultimately we need to understand if there was anything that was missed or anything that we can do, how we can help, how we can mitigate for something. Swetchen told CNN this morning. Swetchen said there are over 20,000 condo units in Sunny Isles Beach. Again, let me repeat that. There are over 20,000 condo units in Sunny Isles Beach. Swetchen said condo residents in Sunnyside Beach should feel incredibly safe because we're on it. But added residents are very scared. In Miami, city officials sent out a letter warning or urging that buildings are over 6 stories or more than 40 years old to get an an inspection of a qualified structure engineer. Stephanie Savino, Director of Communications for Miami, told CNN they are being asked to respond within 45 days with any potential structural concerns. And it goes down to places like Boca Raton. Let's see what they're doing in Boca Raton here. Mayor Scott Singer told CNN that an email on Sunday in the city is creating more significant standards for certifications of buildings. And following the Surfside collapse, our building staff has been working with other jurisdictions to determine the best practices, Singer said in the email. A number of our condos have been working on comprehensive restorations. We can expect more of and increased steps to ensure the safety and welfare of our residents. So you could read more. I think, let me take a look here. Shit. It's being slow today. You'll have to forgive me. Let me turn off something on Facebook. Maybe that'll help. Okay, here's an update to the recent article that I've been reading you. It says here, officials begin inspections of nearby buildings after Florida condo collapse leaves at least 9 dead and more than 100 missing. Let's see, rescue crews have descended upon the coastal town of Surfside, South Florida, as families wait for any news about their loved ones following the collapse of a condo building on Thursday. God damn that article. You need to leave those off unless somebody wants to turn them on. But they said rescue crews have descended upon the coastal town of Surfside, Florida, as families wait for any news of their loved ones following a collapse of the condo building on Thursday. At least 9 people are dead, 152 are unaccounted for, and 134 are accounted for in the collapse of the Champlain Towers South as of Sunday. In Miami-Dade, Mayor Danella Levine said during a press conference, the missing are at least 9 countries, including 6 Latin American countries and multiple faith communities. Rescuers from Israel have come to the waterfront to help local, state, and federal agencies in their search efforts. Rescuers from Mexico are expected to arrive today. Over the weekend, crews were able to carve out trenches to contain a deep-rooted fire and burrow in the collapse site to pull victims out as crews above used canines, sonars, and heavy equipment to locate the missing. People visit the makeshift memorial for the victims of the building collapse near the site of the accident in Surfside, Florida. On Sunday, some members of their families were bused from the reunification center to the site of the collapse to pay their respects and witness the efforts that the rescuers are making to bring their families back. Surfside Mayor Charles Burkett told CNN's Wolf Blitzer on Newsroom Sunday that he will continue to support the search and rescue operations until everyone is pulled out of the rubble. I expect miracles. I'm expecting many miracles, he said. Meanwhile, the collapse has prompted other cities to rethink their certification and recertification processes, with one city less than 5 miles away from the collapse starting new inspections on Monday. So after this happened, they're going to start new inspections today in certain areas. The victims, as it goes on to say in the article I'm reading to you now, They're saying at least 9 are confirmed dead following the collapse, with 8 of them identified by authorities as of last night. The first victim was identified Friday as Stacy Fang, who was 54. She is the mother of Jordan Handler, the boy who had been pulled from the rubble alive, her family said in a statement. And that's sad, by the way. I have my condolences to her and any other members that have died in this collapse. Officials identified more victims Saturday as Antonio Lenzo, who is 83, Gladys Lorenzo, 79, and Manuel Lafont, who is 54. On Sunday, they released the identities of 4 more victims. Alan Alkowitz, who is 80, Luis Bermudez, 26, Anna Ortiz, who is 46, Cristina Beatriz Avara, 74. One victim has not been identified by authorities yet. The process of identifying them is very difficult. Levine Cava said on Saturday, "We're going to be relying on DNA testing, and that's why we've already been gathering DNA samples from the family members. So they have all participated and provided DNA to assist us in the investigation." Wow. It goes on to say here, "This allows us to do rapid DNA testing on the site for bodies," she explained. But the painstaking wait is made more unbearable for some as tourists traditionally done within days after death in the Jewish tradition, such as burials, traditionally done within days of death in the Jewish tradition, are unable to happen until the dead are recovered. The Greater Miami Jewish Federation offered to help community members with arranging funeral and/or burial services. The search and rescue teams, as it says here in the article, rescue teams from other countries are traveling to Florida to assist the locals and with rescue operations as the scene continues to be a challenging situation. A team of 10 rescuers from Israel arrived last night. Kevin Guthrie, the director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, had told CNN. "They went to the collapse zone and were on the pile almost all day," Guthrie said. Burkett said that a rescue team from Mexico was expected to arrive sometime today. Crews have been working nonstop since the collapse last week on Thursday, with rescuers switching out over different shifts as weather and fires complicated efforts. And they have pictures from the scene, and they're not for young eyes. Search and rescue personnel search for survivors through the rubble with their dogs in the Champlain Towers in South. It's the Champlain Towers South in Surfside, Florida, last night, June 27th, 2021. Smoke from a deep burning fire made the first days of rescue operation very difficult as visibility was poor and temperatures were high, according to Burkett. Alan Kaminsky, Miami-Dade fire rescue chief, called operations on the site horrific. "It's tough to describe. We don't have the voids we were hoping for," Kaminsky said on Sunday. "We're still looking." So that's what I mean by horrific. It's just a difficult situation. Levine Cava said rescuers were using a grid. They were using a grid search approach on the pile and continue to utilize sonar and cameras along with K9 resources. The issue isn't resources, but luck, according to Burkett. We have the full complement of very experienced search and rescue people. We have waves of them going into that rubble pile right now, Burkett told CNN last night. We've got everything we need, and we just need some luck, and we have it, he explains. We were given the reins as we were leaving, as we were having the fire. Those have both subsided, and now it's 100% focused on getting the people out, Burkett said. We are doing exactly that. We have armies ready to go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are not going to stop until we pull everybody out. And there's a video that I urge you guys to watch. And they talked to a young man who has a relative that was over 90 years old that lived in the building. And this young man had found a birthday card and a couple pictures that looked like they were untouched. So be sure to check that out. I'm sure it'll play when you read these articles. And I'll share it with you when I'm done reading this one. And the structural report showed major issues as far back as 2018. While rescuers continued the efforts on the scene of the collapse, new details have come to light about the integrity of the structure, noted in an engineering report of more than 2 years ago. A 2018 report completed by Morbello Consultants, a structural engineering firm, detailed significant cracks and breaks in the concrete. A statement from the firm said on Saturday. The group said that it provided an estimate to make the extensive and necessary repairs to the condo association. The report did not indicate whether the structure was at risk of collapse. Morbello was again retained by the condo association in June of 2020 for the building's 40th year repair and restoration process, according to the statement. At the time of the collapse, there were roof repairs taking place. The concrete restoration had not started, the firm said, adding that it exclusively provides engineering consulting services and does not provide construction-related services. We are deeply troubled by this building collapse, and we are working closely with the investigating authorities to understand why the structure had failed. And we also continue to pray for those impacted by this tragic event, the firm said in a statement. And let's see what else it says here. According to a report from NPR, N as in Nat, P as in Paul, R as in real. Rosando Prieto, who worked as the town's building official at the time, assured residents of the Champlain Tower South that their building was in very good shape at a November 2018 meeting. NPR cited minutes from the meeting it obtained. 2 days before the meeting, Maura Choria, a member of the condo board, forwarded a copy of the structural engineer's report to Prieto that warned of major structural damage, according to an email released by the town on Saturday. So somebody forwarded a report that warned of major structural damage in an email. It was released by the town on Saturday. Structural engineer report was interviewed by Mr. Prieto. The minutes cited by NPR said, In an apparent reference to the 2018 report from the structural engineer Morbello Consultants, it appears that the building is in very good shape. The minutes noted according to NPR. Prito no longer works for Surfside and currently serves as the interim building official for Doral, another city in Miami-Dade County. According to the Doral website and county document, Prito has not responded to requests for comments from CNN. And again, it says residents had raised concerns over tremors during construction of a nearby building. A woman by the name of Elena, one of 3 town commissioners for Surfside, Florida, told CNN on Sunday night that survivors of the collapse she encountered have said they felt shaking during construction on a nearby building in recent years. I think Satzhauer said that some of the survivors told her that they were bothered by the shaking of their building that occurred while a high-rise was being built next door. They told her there was shaking, cracking, and water leaking in the garage, she said. They were all very traumatized and shook up, the woman said, adding that she heard people saying the building was shaking all the time during construction. And it goes on to say here if they have anything else to add. The person also said the 2018 report completed by structural engineers was alarming. In hindsight, reading the report is very damning. You read that report, you go, my God, how could they miss this? And Maggie Ramsey, daughter of missing Maggie Delgado, told CNN's Wolf Blitzer on Saturday that her mother had been concerned about shaking from the nearby construction. When the building beside it, which is relatively new, is being built, she did complain of a lot of tremors and things that were being done to the other building, that she sometimes was concerned what may be happening to her building. Delgado wasn't the only one to raise concern in an email to Prito. In 2019, CHOUELA, the condo board member, said that she was concerned that the nearby construction was digging too close to our property. We have concerns regarding the structure of our building, that person said. Local leaders viewing building protocols. The deadly collapse prompted nearby cities and towns to review their building recertification protocols. Less than 5 miles north of Surfside, the city of Sunny Isles Beach will begin sending teams to inspect the buildings on Monday after announcing Saturday that they would modify the existing process for 40-year recertifications of their buildings. Vice Mayor Louisa Swenson told CNN, the more the residents see what we're doing, the better it is for everyone. Swenson explained. On Friday, the city of Miami also sent out a letter urging buildings that are over 6 stories and more than 40 years old to get an inspection from a qualified structural engineer. Stephanie Servino, director of communication of the city of Miami, had told CNN. They are being asked to respond within 45 days with any potential structural concerns. Boca Raton Mayor Scott Singer told CNN in an email Saturday that the city is creating more stringent standards and certifications for their buildings following the Surfside collapse. Our building staff has been working with other jurisdictions to determine the best practices, Singer said in the email. A number of our condos have been working on comprehensive restorations. We can expect more of these efforts and increased steps to ensure the safety and welfare of our residents. So, yeah, let me go ahead and share this one, and I'll go back to my original article that I was reading about the live update. But yeah, I think it's really sad. If they did miss that report, then I expect a big lawsuit to come up. Because if you're worried about structural damage, then you should be able to voice that. And to have a inspection crew say one thing and then a person says another, somebody's covering up. That shouldn't have happened. Yeah, let me see here. Let's see. Let's go back to the original article that I was reading. You know, that's where I had to click more from. So, and over 56 minutes ago, on the same page as the original article that I was reading before. And it says, witness a building collapse. It was just all really scary. I'll just go with first names. A girl named Nina, who is a 15-year-old resident of Champlain Towers East, witnessed the partial collapse of the Champlain Towers South from her bedroom window. The girl said that she and her family were scared that their building would collapse too and stayed in a hotel following the collapse. She described what she had witnessed to CNN's John Berman. She says, I was in my room about 1:30 a.m. and my room was overlooking the Champlain Towers South, and suddenly I heard a huge sound, and I go rushing to my window balcony because it's right there. I open the window and I just see the second part of the building collapsing. The first middle part already collapsed and it was just a cloud of dust and we couldn't see anything. I ran to my mom, who was on the other side of the balcony, to make sure she was okay. We were in such shock. We didn't know what happened. We didn't know what was going to happen to our building, she said. We were just traumatized, and we woke my sister up, who slept through the whole thing. We went downstairs. It was madness there. There were people screaming and crying, all types of emotions there. We saw people from the remaining balconies that were still standing, like they just stuck there, unable to go to the stairs. It's blocked. There's no stairs. It was really scary. We later went to a hotel because, we didn't know what it could happen to our building. We just didn't know anything. It was just really scary, she continued. She told Berman that she can't get the image of the collapse out of her head and had a hard time sleeping on her first night back in her building, which was built years after Champlain Towers South. So much trauma, so much emotions. I just can't believe it, she said. The young lady said that she also is a former classmate of Devin Gonzalez, who was pulled out alive from the rubble along with her mother, Angela. She's in the hospital with her mom. I'm glad they survived it. And you can watch the full interview, she says. You can find it on Twitter. It's on a page called New Day. Yeah, so let's see. And they also say key things to know about the condo collapse investigation so far. City officials say the cause of the partial building collapse in Surfside, Florida is still unknown, but engineering reports, researchers, and residents have shed light on the integrity and structure as the rescuers continue to race to find survivors. As of when these articles were written, they say 9 people are dead, 152 are unaccounted for, and 134 are accounted for in the collapse of Champlain Towers South as of Sunday. Miami-Dade County Mayor said during a news conference. And again, I told you about how the report had raised alarm, but I'm going to read a bit of it again so you guys will get a scope of what happened. They say that a report was completed by Morbello Consultants, a structural engineering firm, details significant cracks and breaks in the concrete. A statement from the firm said on Saturday. The group said it provided an estimate to make the extensive and necessary repairs to the condo association. The report didn't indicate whether the structure was at risk of collapse. Morbello was again retained by the Condominium Association in June of 2020 for the building's 40-year repair and restoration process, according to the document. At the time of the collapse, there were roof repairs taking place, but concrete restoration had not started. The firm said that it exclusively provides engineering consulting services and does not provide construction-related services. They say they are deeply troubled by this building collapse and are working closely with the investigating authorities to understand why the structure had failed. So, as we do so, we also continue to pray for all those impacted by this tragic event, the firm said in a statement. And they say a researcher says condo showed signs of sinking in early 90s. Simon Winofsky, a professor with Florida International University Institute of Environment, told CNN he determined in a study last year that Champlain Towers South, the condo, had showed signs of sinking in the 1990s. The condo had a subsidence rate of about 2 millimeters a year from 1993 to 1999, according to that study. While the man said the sinking would not likely cause the condo's collapse, he said it could be a contributing factor. If one part of the building moves with respect to the other, that could cause some tension and cracks, he explains. Residents had raised concerns over tremors over the construction of a nearby building. And again, I've read about that. And it says, local leaders are now reviewing building protocols. You know, and a lot of these residents say they felt a lot of shaking and vibrations from the construction of the new building. And a lot of the residents were deeply concerned, but nothing was ever done to really shore up the building or do something, you know, to make sure that their residents are safe. But it says the cities of Sunny Isle Beach and other cities around there are shoring up their protocols of any buildings that are a certain height and the age. And they say over an hour and 7 minutes ago, the engineer who inspected the condo in 2020 said he saw cracks and deterioration, but was not alarmed. We won't go into that. And they say 2 hours and 54 minutes ago, Surfside collapse, search and rescue efforts largest Florida has ever had. That isn't a hurricane, officials had said. Let's look into that. And then I'm going to let you guys digest what I've already talked about. Let's see. The Florida State Fire Marshal, Jimmy Patronis, said that the search and rescue effort underway in Surfside at the Champlain Towers South collapse is the largest that state has ever seen that isn't a hurricane. Quote, this is the largest effort we've ever had in the history of the state of Florida that's not even been a hurricane. That man told CNN's John Berman on New Day. Patronis said that the rescue effort has been helped in recent days by a newly constructed trench and first responders' ability to remove giant pieces of smoldering concrete. Petronas said that the pieces were able to weighed about 12,000 pounds and was scorched from a fire burning beneath it. As they've been able to remove some of these, they've been able to get some of the fuel out of the system, and the fuel going away, they were minimized by the work of more, and the work is more efficient. The state's fire marshal said that one person could be pulled out alive from the rubble is what motivates first responders to continue the recovery efforts. Asked about the potential causes of the catastrophic collapse, Petronas says that he's focused on the recovery effort, but said it will be a Greek tragedy if they find all this could have been avoided. And that's the truth. That's the truth. You know, and you can read more of these little bits of the articles on Yahoo and CNN. So, yeah. You know, and it's just sad. It really is. If they had found significant cracks and dents in the structure, I think they could have done more. Oh, excuse me. Okay, sweetie. Okay. Here we go. But yeah, let me share it again just to make sure. But this is a big job, and they're going to be down there for a long while, so I'm not going to bore you with any more details about this. So many people have been hurt, so many people have been traumatized, and maybe so many may be dead. You know, I'm just being honest here, but I think if they found structural damage, significant structural damage, cracks in the cement, whatever, I think they should have let the residents know so they can make alternate plans if they need to stay elsewhere until they could get those things fixed. It shouldn't have happened. And I think about the woman that was on the phone with her husband. I think about the guy who talked about his 90-plus-year-old relative that was lively and vivacious and just loved life and lived younger than she should have. You know, I saw that on CNN, I think it was yesterday, where a young man was talking about that particular relative. And they talk about having faith, but, you know, I look at it this way. If that young man was able to find a birthday card and a couple of her pictures, relatively untouched, unscathed, I think of those items as her passing off those bits of memories as to say, I may be gone, but you have these things. Carry on my memory. You know, go on living your life. You can live your life by carrying on your life in my memory. So, yeah. I think the whole thing is sad. I heard about it over the last couple days, but I wanted to make sure that they got some more current information. And I'll update you sometime by next weekend if any new information comes about. I'm not going to bombard YouTube with small bits of updates. I'm going to do it every few days. So, you know, today's Monday. You'll probably hear from me again on Friday. But this shouldn't have happened. You know, people are scared enough to go into high rises after 9/11. And now this happens? Are you kidding me? You know, they live in an area where you're surrounded by water. They have hurricanes. They have sinkholes are more prevalent in Florida. And I think what happened here shouldn't have happened. If you're having structural damage that is really noticeable, I think you should take it to the head of the condo board, and say, well, we need to notify our residents right away. They can stay if they choose to, or if they want to stay at a place for a while, we could help with that. That shouldn't have happened. Especially if you're you're living in a condo, you're enjoying your life, and then you have people building a building next door to that, and you have rattling and shaking. Maybe we should start checking the structural integrity more than 40 years out. They should do structural checks every year. From the time that the building is built, they should do it every year. And if they see any structural integrity that is compromised, then they need to get in there and fix that. That's simple enough, isn't it? And my thoughts go out to all involved. I would say something about prayer, but you know how I feel about the man upstairs. So I think the young man that was interviewed said, he talks about not being a barter or something like that. But, if you put your hands in God, then you're crazy. We are on our own. We have to take care of ourselves. I just think it's sad. But keep the victims in your thoughts and in your mind as we go through the weekend. And be thankful for what you have. That just, it just goes to show that life's a crapshoot. You could be fine one day and then you could be gone the next. Well, you guys have a good night. And maybe I'll get on here later and talk about something fun, but I don't know. I'm thinking about doing my tenure over here full time since I got more subs. But if you have any more news, keep an eye on CNN or your local affiliates. And if you're in the area of where this condo is at, listen to your local authorities. If you have family members, do what you can to remember them and honor them. And if you feel the need to sue, if they did overlook severe cracks in the foundation, if you feel the need to sue, by all means do so. Especially if you have condo members complaining about leaks, about cracks. The people that own that building should have looked into that. This shouldn't have happened. But I keep thinking about that phone call that the wife was making to her husband. I can't imagine what must have been going through her mind before the line went dead. And it takes me back to what happened on 9/11. You had people calling loved ones, finding out what the hell's going on, and you have people calling 911, and one 911 dispatcher hung up on a guy, and then the guy that was at the top was pleading for help, couldn't get any help, and then you hear, "Oh God," and then the line goes dead. Think about that. And if you want, I could find that final phone call that the person made from the towers. But I don't want to spare you for that. If you want to find out about the final phone call from the Twin Towers, by all means, look up final call from Twin Towers. I'm sure it's up somewhere. But I think about that young woman's phone call before the line went dead. If they do find audio of that, I don't think I would want to listen to it. I think it would make me horribly ill. In fact, this whole thing makes me horribly ill. That could be my mother. That could be my sister. That could be any member of your family. And it stinks. I hope that they're sending rescue crews from the country here. But I know places like Mexico and other areas are coming in to help in the search and rescue efforts. I can only hope they find more alive, but, I think they need to think about and remember those that were lost in the building. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. And I think it stinks. I hope some of you people that may know these people might come in and do a commentary. I would love to hear from some of you. Because I think not just in the state of Florida, but in any state across this country, even out in California, a place that is duly noted for earthquakes, they really need to shore up their buildings and make sure their patrons are safe. And it's just one big giant clusterfuck. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. So if anybody out there knows anybody in the condo that would like to come in here and talk, I welcome it. Let me know how you feel. Do you think that the condo committee or whoever does this crap should have stepped up their efforts to really shore up their buildings and give their residents an option of whether they want to stay while the repairs are being done or if they want to go to a place and stay for a while? They should have that option. I welcome it. I welcome it. But my thoughts go out to the victims, and especially to the young man who lost his mother and anybody else who lost their relatives. They're the ones that are going to be suffering the worst. And it really stinks. It really stinks. But I can hope that the young man that survived and anybody else who survived this can move on and do something to honor their loved one's memory. Because it shouldn't have happened. Nope. Some of these people were probably retirees that moved from wherever they moved from to live out their last days, their last rites, as they say. They shouldn't have to worry about a building coming down on them. But I think they need to step up their restoration and repair work, not wait 40 years for a restoration. They should do a restoration every 5 to 10 years. Let me know what you think. And I do know somebody that lives in a high-rise here in my state of Ohio. And her living situation can be scary at times. But we'll get into that in another discussion. So, yeah. Thoughts go out to the victims of this tragedy. It shouldn't have happened. I can only hope that maybe Biden will take a visit down there and offer up his support and, try and help them out a little bit. My thoughts go out to the victims. But if the families want to sue the condo company for what's going on, they should be able to do so. But like they say, people are being bussed in that know the relatives and friends that live there as some sort of closure and to see what really happened and what the scope of it is. But it shouldn't have happened. It really shouldn't have. Well, you guys have a good day, and I'll check back in at least by this weekend. Maybe by Friday night, I'll check back in and let you all know what is going on, because it's a constantly evolving situation, what's going on. So try and have a good day. Try and have a good week. And if we go through July 4th, keep them in your thoughts as we celebrate July 4th. I'll probably end up being at home because I really don't want to go out anywhere. I really don't want to do anything. But I'll keep an eye on the latest news, and I'll update you by the end of the week. Have a good week, everybody, and I'll talk to you again really soon. Bye-bye.